Hello once again. Welcome to my auto studio where I won't be disturbed and I can say exactly what I want to. I've just been for a walk. I was going to say forest, but it's not a forest. It's a 40 acre wood with many meandering paths that go for miles. I've just walked about 3 miles. And at one point, I compared it to the forests of Finland, and there is no comparison. The forests of Finland are vast, absolutely vast, and the biggest forest in Europe, this side of Russia. When Finland joined the EU, someone asked Finland how many forests they had. And the guy who was asked looked puzzled and he said, well, just one, the whole country. And it really is the whole country. When you drive on the freeway, on the motorway, there is just literally miles and miles and miles of forest. And when you walk in the forest in Finland, it's a mysterious experience that those forests have been there for since the Ice Age, thousands of years. And I mention that because I just recently found a lady. She's a biologist or some professional, and I know that some of these experts are not, but she has some good points. And her name is Suzanne Simard. And she's an expert on the forests of Canada, because she's a Canadian. And her hypothesis is that the forests talk to one another. Now, I don't mean that the trees have a language, because if trees had a language, they would be the same as us. You know, where the oak couldn't talk to the ash and the ash couldn't talk to the plum tree or whatever. But they have, apparently she thinks by meticulous experimentation that they communicate with their millions of roots, and then off the millions of roots there are fronds that stretch all over and join in each tree and each tree with each one. And it's quite feasible, because I've noticed this in the past. When you get a severe drought in the summer, the trees will shed their leaves to maintain their, whatever they maintain, to maintain their strength, I guess. And it happens gradually through a forest, as if there is some sort of communication going on between the trees that, shed your leaves, there's not going to be any rain. Maybe. I don't know. It's just, it's an interesting book that she's written. It's probably worth a read, at least, to see an opinion. I wasn't going to mention politics today, but I'm sure it will creep in somewhere. You see online sometimes that people are asked, if you had a dinner party and you could invite anybody across history, wherever, to your party, who would you invite? And most people say film stars and all that. I'm not really interested in film stars, apart from maybe one. But in my dinner party, I would have maybe Jesus, Muhammad, and let's not forget, they are prophets. That's all they are. And say Hitler, Stalin, a few philosophers, although philosophers can never ever agree, like Friedrich Nietzsche or Plato or Karl Marx. Who else would we have? Einstein. A few authors. John Steinbeck, my favourite author. As I say, I'm not keen on film stars. but apart from just one man, Peter Ustinov. He was born in 1921 and died in 2004 at the age of 83, which is not a great age, not in today's world. And I include him for his humanitarianism, his humility, and his great wit. I'll leave a link to an interview, or several interviews, that people interviewed him, and he was extremely funny. A raconteur is the word. Absolutely brilliant. And I will include a link in descriptions to this video for that. It's well worth. It's an hour long, but it's really well worth it because the guy is a phenomenon. And maybe with all these people at my dinner party, perhaps the discussion would come around to what is intelligence. And what is intelligence? Is intelligence passing the 11 plus? I don't think so. Many people I know that have been to university just have a good memory. And if you've got a good memory, then it will take you far, but it doesn't necessarily make you intelligent. There's a great big lorry going to pass. Okay, they've gone. I've got to pause. Sorry, I was distracted. What was I talking about? Intelligence and a good memory. If you've got a good memory, you'll do very well in this life, but it doesn't make you intelligent. I personally, I have a terrible memory. I always have had. And when I was around 16 or 17, I saw a book in a store called How to Develop a Superpower Memory. I think it's still available. And in the first chapter, it tells you to name 10 random objects. So you name them, and then he tells you to turn the paper over and remember them. And of course you don't, unless you've got an extremely good memory, which I hadn't. That's why I bought the book. And then he goes on to tell you that what you should do when you have a list of things, random things, is to take the first one and think of an outrageous, stupid, fantastic idea and link it to the second one, and then link the second one to the third one. Then after you've done this, in the second chapter, you can remember 10 random objects quite easily. And you can even ask which one, what is the 8th one, and you'll know it. Well, sadly, this book I put away, and I forgot where I put it. Typical. But yeah, that was a joke. But like I say, a good memory is essential to education, not intelligence. And I was going to make a point about this, and I can't think what it was. I'll have to pause for a second. Oh yes, I remember. The point I'm trying to make is that people, especially those at universities, and essentially not necessarily the people that go to university to get a degree, but those that stay there as professors. And they don't experience real life as such. They don't live in real life. They live within a community that is single-minded. That's the odd thing. And you get people like Professor Ferguson. He was the guy that he gave all these warnings from purely a computer model, nothing else. And he was responsible for the foot and mouth killing of over 20 million animals. And it was unnecessary because should never have happened. That was in the reign of Tony Blair, when he was our Prime Minister, who should, by all rights, be condemned as a war criminal, because that's what he was. And then Professor Ferguson went on to make another computer model about COVID. And that was responded by all the world's governments. They all went on his model, computer model. And was it right? No, it wasn't. It was wrong, deadly wrong. And now we're finding out those reasons for ourselves. Enough of politics. And my point was about walking in the forests, and the forests of Finland, which if you ever get the chance to go to Finland, really do go there, because it is, and I don't mean the cities, I mean into the forest itself. Go to a national park. Wow. Absolute fantastic place that I can never ever recommend enough. And I was always grateful for people that allowed me to go there and stay and show me what it was all about. And that's me on this quite sunny day, quite warm. Thank you for listening to my rant from my auto. Bye-bye.